Welcome to the prop line with just me. It's me and Jim this week, here from Winning in the Shadows. Welcome back. Andy has gone to watch the golf at the Ryder Cup this week, and we're flying solo. So let's get right into it, Jim.
I talked
Let's
to him. He's having a grand old time. So you guys can be very happy that Andy's having a good time.
Perfect. Let's go straight to the weather. I was just looking through the weather, Jim. I don't know if you can see it at the minute,
Mhm.
but there doesn't seem to be much weather around at all. Couple of indoor games, couple of clear skies. There's a couple of scattered showers in the Eagles Bucs game. Chance of rain in the Jags 49ers. Apart from that, Jets and Dolphins, but that's later in the weekend. So nothing really to look at with regards to that. So let's, I guess, jump straight into the props. First game is Vikings Steelers. What have you got in this game, Jim?
Well, I know you're going to have a bunch, so I don't have to beat a dead horse with these two teams. Steelers crashed down to earth. The hot start from Aaron Rodgers. Things look in a bit of disarray. I called at the beginning of the year that it was only a matter of time before Aaron Rodgers was going to start talking about his other wide receivers when things aren't going well. But the one dependable thing it seems like we can count on is that he trusts those tight ends.
Yeah,
So this defense is going to blitz Rodgers. He's going to be under distress. We've already seen that under the blitz, he's not the same quarterback that he used to be. I would be looking into a turnover for Rodgers in this spot. I think
oh, an
Rodgers to throw an
interception.
interception would
Let's
be
have a look at
a
that.
nice one. I'll be looking into that once the injury reports are finalized
Plus
with this
107
game.
for Rodgers to throw an interception.
Against this heavy blitzing defense with an immobile old quarterback who has one target that he really, really, really likes as a wideout, I think we're going to force one here in this spot. So I will also be looking at sack props. Andrew Van Ginkel is the blitz specialist um, for the Vikings. He's going to come off the edge. So we'll see from there. I really don't like anything offensively on the Steelers side or honestly defensively. They've just been very unimpressive. And I think the age of this team is going to show more and more as the season goes on. So the Steelers are going to be a fade for me. I'm going to be looking at the Vikings.
Yeah, so I was looking at the props this week. Wentz at quarterback's just too hard for me to trust at the minute. It kind of makes props on that side of the ball really difficult. Rodgers, I love him, but last week really, really hurt me. So obviously they played the Pats. He got over 1.5 passing touchdowns, which was perfect, but his passing yards was awful last week. They just had such a strange game plan. Like he was having success throwing the ball, but they ran it more than they passed it overall, which to me didn't make much sense because they were having issues running the ball. I didn't quite understand what the plan was going there. This is a hard passing matchup. So it's like, what do they do? Do they revert back to what they were doing last week, or do they start going back to the tight ends? Because the tight ends both went under last week. Where are they here?
Yeah, we want
Receptions.
receptions for those guys.
Yeah, Johnny Smith's still at 3.5. They moved to -110 on the over 2.5. He only had one, I think, last week, but
Mm-hmm.
I could quite easily see him coming back to those. Warren over 3.5 receptions was the one that I was particularly looking at plus money here. He's had success with those. He's had 4 and 5 the last 2 weeks. If it's a little bit of a harder matchup, then that's who he's going to look for. On the other side of the ball, I think it's difficult because they've obviously got Jordan Addison coming back this week, and they've priced his numbers really low, which I find quite strange. I quite like his overs because it's not like he's been injured or there's anything particularly wrong. Like his receiving yards is just 38 yards. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, -110. I quite like that in a comeback spot. I was looking at Jalen Naylor over 15.5 receiving yards. Uh, so last 3 weeks, he's had 28, 31, and 37 yards on 1, 3, and 3 receptions. It's like, is that going to continue? Or now that Addison's back, does he kind of just take all of that? So I'm passing, but they're the couple of looks that I'm going for in that game. Next up, we have
Just to clarify before we move on, Van Ginkel has officially been ruled out, so do not look
oh,
at Van Ginkel further.
do not look at
I
an injured guy.
Yeah, a lot of the injuries are coming out right now, so I'll keep them up as we're going through here these games.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Chargers at the Giants. What have you got in this game, Jim?
Well, is this going to be Russell Wilson's last hurrah? Is he going to survive another week with Jackson
Well,
Dart
Jim, I'm
looming?
going to interrupt you straight away. It's Jackson Dart. They've named him the
So they've
starter, and
confirmed it.
I think I read a report that Wilson has now retired as well mid-season.
Must have been a busy day at work because I missed all of this. This is all news to me.
Yeah, I'm
All news to me.
Dart is definitely
So Jackson
starting.
Dart, look, I don't know how much changes with this offense. There is going to be a conscious effort to get Neighbors the ball. I get it. Jackson Dart doesn't have the fear of Russell Wilson as he did. Where I will go with this with a rookie quarterback. Let's go to rushing yards, please.
Oh, we both.
We're
This was
probably
definitely on my to discuss list.
yeah. I like Jackson Dart over this
34 and a
34 and a
half is the
half.
total.
I know it's a high number, but we expect them to be down. And if he gets a turnover, he's going to use his legs. Dart has that gumption about him that when he needs a play made, he'll make it himself. He'll pump up the team. I don't think we're going to see him go away from that. This Giants defense has kept them in games. It's going to be a real tall task against the Chargers. It really is. So I'd be looking at Dart's rushing yards. The other thing I wanted to bring up in this game is the resurgence of Keenan Allen. My gosh, has
Absolutely.
he been just it's like these guys never left each other. Like the rapport is still there, and I know it's Lad McConkey, and I know it's Johnson, but Keenan Allen has just been such a safety blanket
Yeah.
for Herbert here, and I think this is going to continue. If they're in a bad spot against this pass rush, Herbert is going to look directly at Keenan Allen first. That's just the way it is. So I like this 49 and a half. I know it's old man Allen, but I would expect him to get 4 or 5 targets in this game against the blitz of the Giants and that defensive line pass rush. Um, One more prop that I did like is the tackles for the middle linebacker for the Giants. Excuse me, his name is Okereke, Bobby Okereke. He's been a tackling machine. Um, if the Chargers get up, we know what the Chargers are going to do. They're going to run the heck out of the ball.
Exactly.
So I would not look at his tackles. That's an in-game bet as well. So if you're watching this game and you see them get up, look at the tackles for Okereke because he's going to be in on a ton of them if the Chargers have a lead in this game.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it there. The Chargers' defense is quite good. I think this is a rough game for Dart to come out and start against the Chargers. The Giants' defense is just bad equally everywhere. There's no they're not bad against one, okay about against the other type of offense. It's just bad everywhere. Um, I really like, you mentioned it there, Keenan Allen's totals, 49 and a half. He had 68, 61, and 65 the last 3 weeks. So obviously clearing this total by at least 15 or something in each of them. I quite like those, but it's a case of are they going to get up so many that are they still going to be throwing the ball enough? I was also looking at Quinton Johnson over 53 and a half. He's had 79, 71, and 89. Again, very similar to Keenan Allen, that they've been targeting these two guys more than Lad McConkey, really, in the passing game. So there's so many, I love the play, but are they going to throw the ball enough versus the Giants? Are they going to try and get Lad McConkey back more involved? Because this feels like a perfect spot. Obviously, your boy Tracy is out. I know how much that you've raved about Tracy in the past, and it's now Scatterboo at running
He's
back.
done, man. He's done with this team. It's Cam
Absolutely.
Scadaboo's job. That's it.
But the Scatterboo totals are really interesting. 56 and a half rushing. He's had 45 and 60. I found 22 receiving quite interesting. He had 61 last week. Dart, obviously being at quarterback, I'm expecting he might check it down to his running back on a few plays. I think 22 and a half for Scatterboo could be very interesting. I was looking at the rushing as well that we just mentioned for Jackson Dart, and I was like, for your first game to have a total of 34 and a half rushing, I could see him getting into the teens or the 20s, but 34 and a half seems quite high for an initial first game rushing total. I definitely think that's one to watch. And then my favorite play on this entire board, I'm sure everyone knows where we're going, and it's interceptions for
Yep.
Justin Herbert. Wow, but DraftKings has it at minus 242. Find
I,
something to put with
I
it
don't care.
and play it because it's going to happen. What I love is that he had one last week. So I'm going to come straight back to it. I'm going to put that. I'd love to say I'm going to quickly do it if I have enough time. I might put the Chargers money line at minus 278 with him not to throw an interception. Where is it? Interceptions
I
under
like that.
minus 140. That's the kind of
Sign
thing.
me up.
Exactly. That's the kind of thing I would do. Dart's first game, Giants suck on both sides of the ball at the minute. That's a way that you could play it, but I definitely would find a way to play that somehow. So, what have we got next? Browns, Lions,
I will tell
Jim.
you this before we move on. I know Jackson Dart's starting. Who did you want to start?
Russell Wilson.
Jameis Winston.
Of
I would
course.
love to see.
Of course, that would
Sign
be
me up
great.
for all the passing props if Jameis was in there. So if we see Jameis coming in, get ready to hammer those receiver props because you know what he's doing.
Exactly. Right, what have you got in this one, Jim? Browns, Lions.
I don't have much. Browns coming off a big upset win. The survivor pool killers of the week just murdered everybody. And Detroit getting back to what they do. So, in looking at this, I know you're going to talk about Flacco. I don't even want to talk about Flacco at this point. If we could go to the rushing props first.
Yes, rushing.
That's where I would like to go. I mean,
rushing yards. There you go.
So, Judkins, with these 14 attempts, he's got 14. They're lining this at 16 attempts. Is there anybody that's going to steal carries from him?
No.
I don't believe there is.
I don't think anyone's stealing
And
carries.
I think the Browns know that they have to run the ball a couple times. You just have to. So I'm interested in Junkins over 14 and a half. This Lions backfield, it just continually drives me up the wall because you just don't know who's what. I think something, if you want to play it every week, is you just play Gibbs and Montgomery both to score and just play it every week, depending on what they're lined at. I mean, at some point, you can't play Gibbs when he's minus 240.
Minus 185 and minus 105.
Minus 105. So, I mean, they're still playable. I don't like the line on Gibbs. The Montgomery one is interesting to me because when they get down to the goal line, I mean, it's Montgomery. That's really all I got. I'm not really super interested in this game.
Yeah, I think, well, let me get it out of the way. We both know the first prop that I am going for, and it's Flacco. Wow. So earlier today, I had this at 35.5, and I couldn't believe it because it was plus money to the over 35.5. So yeah, shop around. You can still get it lower than 38.5. I think that it's Flacco. He's still going to be throwing the ball a ton. So he had 36 attempts last week against the Packers. I'll come back to that. And 45 in the other 2 weeks. He really should have gone higher than 36. There were a couple of possessions towards the end where he didn't get the possession, or they basically started in the red zone, or it was like 10 seconds left when he got the ball after the blocked field goal. So I'm going to just keep coming straight back to this. The Lions historically have been quite good against the run, so that leads to them passing the ball and thus Flacco pass attempts. I would even play at 38.5. I think they're going to be down. I think the Lions have got too many weapons and will not make the same mistake that we did last week. And I think he's going to come out and have to throw the ball. So yeah, I'm going to continue to ride that for quite a while. There's no fan-in receptions this week, but if they bring it out at 3.5 again, I'm going straight back to it for the same reasons again. Montgomery was let's bring up his rushing line, because I was looking at it with someone in our Discord earlier this week, and Montgomery was at 49.5, and he was looking at the under. Because obviously the Browns have the best rush defense, but I feel like that's almost baked into this line at this point. Now that it's down to 44, 45.5. It's going to take a lot from. I still think he might go under this total, but the problem I have is that they're going to be up and they're going to probably just be running the ball constantly with Montgomery and Gibbs. So it's kind of hard for me to take an under at this point. I quite like Montgomery over 1.5 receptions. He's had one each of the last 2 weeks, but 4 in week 1. I think against a tough defense like this, he could easily get a couple. I think this is the kind of spot that works well for that. But other than that, don't really have much else other than the Flacco pass attempts that I really do love. Eagles Bucs, Jim. What have you got in this one?
I know he went under last week. I don't care. I'm going right back to it. Baker Mayfield over 1.5. He had ample opportunities against the Jets. Um, I don't really care that Mike Evans is out because it just seems like Baker knows this team. He knows these guys now. We're going on multiple seasons of being together with Bucky Irving and White and just everybody that he's got there. There's no lines on him, but Cade Otton didn't even get a target against the Jets, which was shocking to me because we're horrible against tight ends. But when you can't miss to Mbuka, I guess
Yeah.
why
Why
even
do you
bother
need anyone
looking?
else?
Yeah, why do you need anyone else? So we'll see if we end up getting a line on a tight end here against the Eagles. Again, as well, we go right back to it again. Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown. All we're going
Yeah.
to hear about is the tush push. They're going to ask Vita Vea all week about the tush push. How do you stop it? He's the run stopper. Just play Hurts to score a touchdown. It just keep going back to it. So I don't have to overthink this game. I'll stick with what I know, which is Baker 2 touchdowns, passing, and Jalen Hurts to score.
Well, I'm going to go against you this week because I think Baker is going for a series of under 1.5s here.
Okay.
So I don't know if you watched the game, Jim, but Baker looks injured. He was holding his
Oh, I
hand at
watched the game.
multiple points. He was shaking it out. I definitely think there's something going on there injury wise. Lack of wide receivers. You mentioned now that Evans is out. I don't know if Godwin is back this week, but I think he probably could be. I'll need to check that.
He's
Off,
listed, so I mean, we'll see. I don't know if we have a receiving prop, but we have a touchdown prop.
I don't think there's many receiving props out.
No, no.
They have a I still can't say his name. Ubuka.
Mbuka.
So they
Egbuka,
have him
something
and
like
the
that.
two running backs, but apart from that, no one else is
Yeah, that's
listed.
what I mean.
So,
I think it's gray because there's no listing for the tight ends either. So, I mean, maybe this is
yeah,
the week they go to the tight ends. I don't know.
and then the offensive line and the fact that the Eagles are so hard to. It's hard to. It's the Eagles' defense is, I think, quite underrated. I think it's one of the top 5 definitely in the league, whereas people seem to be giving it disrespect. So that hand injury is one of my main concerns. I want to double check on that a bit more. But I do love his rushing total if they've still got it up. Let's go to rushing yard. 18.5. I really like this.
Yeah, I agree.
So with the Eagles being good against the pass and the lack of options in that offensive line, everyone basically moving around and all the injuries, all it takes is a couple of plays where the protection breaks down or the first read isn't there. Baker's going to take off. He's gone over this total easily the last all 3 weeks, actually 39, 33, and 44. This is actually one of my favorite plays on the board is just over 18.5 when I've given you those totals of him into the 30s.
Hmm.
It's one that I might look to ladder up. I don't know. Baker, yeah, 25 plus at what plus 160 basically. I love that as well. You could probably even at 40 plus as a slight sprinkle at plus 400. I quite like that to be honest. I'm also going back to Hurts not to throw an interception. Here it is, minus 200. Again, I would find a piece to put it with, just like we did with Herbert. But he's not thrown a single one this season. I think even though the Bucs are good against the run, I feel like they're going to go back to running the ball, the Eagles this week, over and over again. Bucky Irving, over his rush attempts, he's gone, it's 16.5. He's gone over the last 2 weeks with 17 and 25. If Baker is having issues throwing the ball like I'm expecting, I could see Irvin easily going into the 20s with rush attempts this week. So they're my looks, but particularly the Baker rushing is probably my my favorite one out there in this
Could we
game.
could we go to tackles and assists for a second, please, in that game?
Let's see if they've
Because
got it.
I love what you said about how the Eagles are going back to running the ball, and I agree with that.
They
Doing
don't
nothing
look like
yet.
they have
So
anything for it yet.
I want to
So,
keep an eye out for Levante David's tackles and assists. With all these tush pushes and these runs and these
yeah.
Hurts runs, it's going to be ample opportunity to get a tackle or an assist from the middle linebacker position because you know they're going to be stuffing the A gap on those plays. So it's a little bit rhyme or reason, like who gets credit in the tush push
Yes.
of who gets the tackle. But it's not that hard to get an assist. All you got to do is be touching the
Someone
ground
in
and
the
be close to
middle.
the ground. Yeah. So I'll take the middle linebacker against the tush push tackles and assists.
I like the sound of that. That might be something that we either look back on or track going forward. Eagles opposing centers against the tush push to get tackles, just considering how many times they do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll look into that one. What have you got in Saints Bills? What a barn burner this is going to be.
Well, I'm officially off the Spencer Rattler. Um, I just think that the coaching staff is making him a pocket quarterback. We haven't seen the rushes, we haven't seen the opportunity, and we haven't seen a willingness to run. So that prop that we thought was so great, I'm going to be off of at this point
Mhm.
until I see it. Um, the Saints don't look good, but they look competent, and I think a lot of that had to do with that prop. Is we needed them to look incompetent, and they don't. So they're hanging in there. This James Cook rushing prop, I know he's been a monster, but this game screams blowout. It screams destruction, and I don't know if they're going to be running James Cook in the third and fourth quarter. And shocking that we don't have a listing on Ty Johnson or Ray Davis to fall back on at this point. So they're kind of handcuffing us still on a Friday night. I want to wait and see who we have available to take over some of those yards that are going to happen in the second half. Something that you might be able to bet live. I don't believe
Mhm.
Josh Allen's going to have to do a whole lot in this game. I would maybe be looking under his passing total. I think this is a run heavy approach for the Bills come the second half after they've got a comfortable lead. That Bills defense as well, not really big in the stat column. They've given up a lot of points. I throw out that Jets game because we were an absolute abomination in that game. We didn't know what we were doing. So it's not like they did anything special. It was just a train wreck by us. So I'm going to be waiting for the props for the auxiliary players for the Buffalo Bills. And this is where live betting comes in. I'll do my live betting bulletin. When you're watching a game and you see it being a blowout and you're watching James Cook get these yards, don't bet it. Don't bet it. Think about the game script. You have two more quarters left to go. They're not going to give James Cook 30 carries against the Saints. They need him. So in comes Ray Davis. In comes Ty Johnson. So that's where I'm going to be looking. I'll be looking at the auxiliary players and trying to play this game live.
Yeah, I have quite a few. I'm going to talk James Cook. I quite like his over just because I think he could even get there in the first half. But I was just looking, I don't know if you can see Jim, his first quarter rushing is just 16 and a half. He could easily get that in two, maybe three carries. If we think he's going to have success and it's going to turn into a blowout, then I don't often
It's a
like
good
taking
bet,
first
Corbin.
quarter lines,
I
but
really like that.
yeah,
Really like that.
that sounds like a good look. I don't know how fast he's been starting, but he's had 132 and 108 yards the last couple of weeks. So I feel like that's a good way to target it instead of the whole game. Um, I quite like again, I'm torn. They don't have the lineup, but the Rattler rushing is at 12 and a half again. So he only ran twice last week and still got to 10 yards. It's burned me every week because we were doing it at 16 and then 18 and a half. So it hasn't won any weeks yet, but two of the 3 weeks he has still gone over 12 and a half. I can't play it this week just because of getting burned on it and the fact he ran twice last week. But it wouldn't surprise me to see him start going back over that number at just under 12 and a half. I quite like some of these passing props for Rattler in the receiving game. Let me pull them up here. So the ones I've circled are Jawan Johnson over 42.5 or 4.5 receptions. He's had 8, 5, and 6 receptions, so he's gone over 4.5 receptions in every game for 76, 49, and 51 yards. I'm expecting Rattler to be passing quite often, especially against the Bills, because I expect them to be down, and you can get at the Bills in the passing game a bit at the minute. So I quite like that one. I also like Brandon Cooks if they've got it. I don't see it up at the minute on here on DraftKings, but you can get it at just 16.5. He's had 26, 26, and 24, 2, 3, and 3 receptions in those games. So he doesn't need that many receptions to still get there. Again, at 16.5 on a Brandon Cooks, I quite like both of those. I feel like if I played both of them at worst, I would go 1-1. So that's where I'm looking at for those ones, particularly the two receiving. And then the obvious one, it feels like, I'm surprised you didn't mention this, James Cook anytime touchdown. I feel
That's
like
why
he's
I
gonna.
didn't mention it.
I feel like he's gonna get into the end zone easily, especially as we're predicting lots of points from the Bills. Again, minus 220. I'm not really bothered. You can probably put it with the Bills money line, and it's probably going to bring it down a tad. Where is it?
It'll get
There we
it
go.
under
Minus
200.
185 already, just adding the Bills money line.
Mhm.
Like, I'm sure there's another prop or an alt that you can add if you want to bring it down even more. But 40 cents on a minus 1400 money line feels like very good to me. That's something that I like doing in particular. Commanders, Falcons, Jim.
The Mariota experience once again. I'll tell you what, a real shame, these injuries. I know we said it last week and the things that suck, or 2 weeks ago, but man, it's just, I was really looking forward to a healthy Daniels this year. Um, the Falcons, geez, talk about the other survivor killer of the weekend.
Yes.
Those
Oh, it
survivor
killed
pools
me
are
last
not looking
week.
good after the Falcons did not decide to show up. Um, what's the line on Michael Pitts?
Michael.
So
You want his receptions or his
I
receiving?
want his yards. I want his yards. Or Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I get
37
it.
and a half. I know he's not what everybody wants him to be, but he's involved with Penix. All right, he's averaging 45 yards. Uh, Everybody would have prayed for him to average 45 yards last year with Kirk Cousins when he was a non-factor and non-existent. Um, Drake London's been a little bit banged up. Against this defense, in a bounce back spot where you got embarrassed, um, I like Pitts over 37 and a half. I don't really believe in this Washington defense. They don't have the star power, the playmakers to turn games. And I think we're going to see a much better Falcons offense this year. Obviously, the key is stopping the run against the Falcons. Bijan Robinson goes way under his total. It was a slow crawl the whole week last week. Everybody loved Bijan again, a prop that everybody's on that doesn't hit, just like when everybody's on the team and it doesn't hit. Stay
Yeah.
away from the big ones. So I have no problem paying Pitts at this number at 37 and a half. As soon as I saw it was under 40, I was in. Once it gets to 40, I'm a little weary, but I think he could get there in 3 catches here with this.
Yeah. They burned me completely last week. It was a real strange showing.
Mm-hmm.
Like for anyone that didn't watch it, I watched parts of it. It was like you would expect them to be running the ball with Bijan. Like they just never established running the ball. They were always behind the chains. Penix was awful. It just nothing worked at all. Even the defense looked shoddy. It's kind of it's like, is that going to continue? I really can't trust Penix or any Falcons related props until I see an improvement. But one that I do quite like is Mariota over 31.5 rushing. He got 40 last week on 6 rush attempts. There's no lineup at DraftKings at the minute, but you can get it. Even his longest at 12.5, it says here that he got a 22-yard run last week. I think he's going to have great success running the ball against these Falcons. I think he's going to have design plays, and then there's going to be some scrambles. I think he's guaranteed at least 5 or 6 rushes a game, and just 31.5 for the total or 12.5 for the longest. I think he's going to get there quite easily, quite honestly. That's one of my more favorite plays, particularly in this game where I find it hard to trust either team. So next up is the Titans and the Texans, Jim. What have you got?
This game, I got something in.
Oh, what have
This
you
is
got?
something I got here. Cam Ward, exactly what I thought was going to happen. This game is too fast for this kid right now.
Yeah.
It's just too fast. You are fading Cam Ward however you can fade Cam Ward. If we can go interceptions, what's the line on his interceptions? 133, 153. I'll take
So
it. I'll
Water
take him.
throwing interception is minus 153.
I'll
I
take
believe
it.
he's only thrown one through 3 weeks, though.
I'm still going to play it. This Texans defense, the Texans are wasting a great defense with a horrible offense right now. They're a great defensive team, but their offense can't do anything right. But they have those two pass rushers on the edge that are going to make Cam Ward's life an absolute living hell in Hunter and Anderson. And that's where I'm going next. I don't believe we have them up yet unless they came up in the past hour, but I will most certainly be paying sack props. The other thing is that Cam Ward is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL this year. So once they come up here with our defensive props,
Yeah,
they're not up yet. We're going to look at Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter sacks. If we can get half a sack for both of those guys, Cam Ward's the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. So he's either going to throw a pick or he's going to take the sack. So if you play all three of those, you go 2-1. You go 2-1. So depending on the lines on these sack props, that's how I'm going to be playing this game. I had this eyed up all week. This is how I wanted to play the game. I don't have to look at another prop. I don't need to make money on a touchdown score. That's how I'm playing it.
Perfect. I'm going to go I rinse and repeat. Texans Fairbairn over 1.5 field goals. It lost last week, but they got too far behind, and then in the end they couldn't kick field goals even if they wanted to. This is a much better matchup for me. I think they're going to stop them in the red zone. Texans have had issues. They have at times really well got to the red zone, and then it all just falls apart. I don't know if it's the congested field or the lack of a real run game. Chubb just hasn't been getting it done. So, yeah, I'm going to continue playing the over 1.5 field goals for the Texans. Also looking at Tony Pollard, if I can bring it up, over 16.5 rush attempts. Rush attempts. They've got it at 17.5 here. If you can find it, definitely prefer the 16.5. 18, 20, and 16, and the Texans are middle of the pack versus the run. I think they're going to want to lower how much Ward's throwing it and keep him from running and try and run as much as possible with Pollard. I think it's going to be a close, low-scoring game, which sets up perfectly for Pollard to get 18, 19, 20 carries this week. I think that's a really good look. That and the field goals this week.
Like it.
Thank you. Panthers Patriots.
So this is the one I wanted to talk to you about. All of a sudden, Hunter Henry's got to go show up again now, doesn't he? Of course he does. Of course he does last week, right? So we're all about the Hunter Henry train. He gets outplayed by Hooper. Oh, no, what's wrong with Hunter Henry? What happens? Drake May remembers where his bread is buttered, and that is Hunter Henry. Nothing is going to change this week. That confirmed it for me. You just have to go with Hunter Henry every week. So what is his receptions number right at this moment?
It is 3.5, I believe. As usual, they do not move this line. Yeah, Hunter Henry, over 3.5 receptions.
3.5 on receptions, and his yards?
Yards.
Show me under 50.
Yards. Where is
right there?
Hunter Henry 42.5.
I'm in on the Hunter Henry train yet again. It's just we got duped. We got duped one week, and I'm not going to get duped again. This is his favorite target, and I will continue to play Hunter Henry each week, no matter what happens.
Yeah, he flew back. I was mentioning it on the show last week. I think he had one reception the week before, and I was like, "Do we play it again?" And in the end, we were like, "We probably should." Ends with 8 receptions, so definitely looks like he's back. The Panthers are interesting. They we were just talking, they won by like 30 points against the Falcons, and you're like, great, who did all the scoring? You look at the box score for the Panthers, and it's like 121 yards passing, 73 and a half rushing for
I know.
Chuba. And it's like, they weren't that great on offense, like on the stats wise. It's like, I think again, I like fading the Pats in the passing game, and I look at the receivers for the Panthers, and I'm like, firstly, there's only one listed on DraftKings, but it's like there's like 5 or 6 guys that catch the ball, and none of them are particularly consistent. One week they'll have 20 yards, and the other week they'll have 50, and then it'll flip. It's just hard to pick, and I definitely do not trust Bryce Young enough to pick him. So I'm with you on the Hunter Henry. It's the only look that I have in this game, full stop, basically. So he's another one that you just keep playing every week, and you're going to probably come out good by the end of the year. So, yeah. Andy's Colts at the LA Rams. What have you got, Jim?
I'm so mad at Daniel Jones for being good. I'm so mad. I was so excited for Daniel Jones's rushing prop this season, and he just like all of a sudden now he's a passer.
Yeah,
so
he's a
so like
pocket
that
passer.
rushing prop is just dead. Like ship it. It's over. we're done with the Daniel Jones rushing until they start giving up pressures and getting him uncomfortable. We can't go anywhere with the Daniel Jones rushing prop. Um, you said it on last week's show. I did listen, even though I wasn't here. But my boy Kyron Williams, man, just
Amen.
going
I
back
did
to
it.
him
I did it
again,
for
right?
you last week.
My man, my man. It's just 195. He's in that James Cook number area there. Like, what do you do with it? I think you find something else. You find another prop or something to put with it, and then just go from there with them. The Rams have a fantastic defense. Their defensive line is young and they're hungry. They're good pass rushers. So again, I'm waiting for defensive props. Is this the week that the Colts kind of crash down a little bit to earth?
Yes, it
You believe
is.
so? Okay.
I
So if
do.
you believe so, which I think as well, I think the Colts are going to struggle a little bit this week. That pass rush, that front four, if the Colts are playing from behind, EO Pace,
Yeah.
Hokett, it's just good young pass rushers. I'm going to be looking at sack props in this game as well. Once they can get some pressure on Jones, if they can get to him, I think it's just going to snowball from there.
Perfect. Well, I'm very interested because you wrote off Daniel Jones's rushing, but I quite like it this week.
Okay.
Um, because of I think this game, I think the Rams are going to get to him. I think they're going to cause the pressure that you just talked about. I'm expecting a close game or the Rams to actually be ahead. So I think we're going to see Jones from behind and not in a cushy position up multiple scores, scoring on every drive. I don't think he's going to have it all his way this week. Uh, Technically has gone over this total in 2 of the 3 games with 26 and 27. Now, granted, only just, but he barely had to run in both of those
Mm-hmm.
games.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily see him taking off for 30 plus yards this week because he has to. Um, I think that's a great opportunity. It might be one of those ones against the better defenses where he has to run more. And
Great point.
I think the Rams have a really good defense. I'm also looking. I'm interested in your opinion, considering your team is one of the ones that passed on him. Tyler Warren over his receiving. Um, it was at 48 and a half earlier in the day, and it's now 51. So for 3 games, he's had 76, 79, and only 38 last week. But again, they haven't needed him particularly much in all these games because of how far they've been ahead. Again, with a tougher matchup, I think they're going to have to throw the ball more. I think they're going to get Warren very much involved in this game, and I think this is a quite a low total. Anything under the 50 mark, I know it's scraped up to 51 here. Anything 50 or below, it's really, I think, auto play for me on Warren at this point. How do you feel as a Jets fan passing over a talent like this and watching the Jets still flounder in
Well,
awfulness?
I think we're more than a tight end away from a functional offense, so I'm
That is
not that
true.
upset
If
about
only
it.
you had kept
Okay.
Rodgers, and you might have had a quarterback for the
Oh, that
year
would
as
have
well.
been a great offense, let me tell you. You know what has more egg on their face are the Chicago Bears for taking Colston Loveland, who's been a total non-factor in
100%.
that offense over Warren. With gets me more mad than the Jets skipping him is the fact that I had a bet on Warren to be the first tight end drafted, and then the
Oh,
stupid
yes, I
Bears
remember that.
try to come in and mess it all up. So, I was on Tyler Warren last week. I wasn't on him the first 2 weeks. This is just like I was saying with Hunter Henry. Just because there's a bad week doesn't mean that it's all of a sudden a horrible prop. Uh,
Exactly.
the guy is a game changer. You can use him in so many facets. The quick pass being a big body against the blitz, I do like Warren this week. So I agree with you on this 51.5. I think it's gettable. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't believe he's gotten in the end zone yet.
Oh, what's him to? This could be a great week for him to get in the end zone.
I
Let's
mean,
just
law of averages says that
plus 240.
at some point they
It's
got to
coming.
get this guy in the end zone. It's coming. It's just even if it's going to be one of those a la Penn State where he takes the snap and sneaks it in, because I would not think they're afraid to do that against this good defense either. Give it to your 260-plus-pound tight end instead of your quarterback to sneak it in.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some things I like on Warren. I haven't gotten to the window on him, but I like the look.
Yeah, and then quickly, I love the field goals actually for both teams because of how much I like their defenses. So Rams over 1.5. They kicked 4 last week on 6 attempts, so we missed 2 of them. Again, still going over. 2 the week before that. Again, that's over 1.5. And 0 week 1. So I love that one. But I love the Colts one more. So he kicked 2 of 3 attempts last week. 5 of 5 in week 2 and 4 of 4 in week 1. It kind of shows that even though they've put up massive points, they've kicked field goals and had some red zone issues in quite a few of those. I really like that Colts over 1.5 field goals in a game where I think the Rams is the best defense they will have faced. And I think they can easily get some stops. But I think they have enough talent to drive up the field, but then could come unstuck in the red zone a little bit. So yeah, if I had to play one, it would be the Colts, but I feel like I might end up playing just both of them over 1.5 field goals here. Jags 49ers, Jim?
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
I want no part of either of these teams. I haven't had a good read on them. Bosa's out now for the Niners.
Yep.
We don't know what we're getting from them. I'm so blah on both.
I will take the floor with one of the only props
by the way.
that is on the board, and it's Christian McCaffrey over his receiving yards. Yep. Rinse and repeat. I tell you guys every week, and it cashes. Like I'm shocked that at this number, it's one of the only numbers on the board because of how many injuries. Purdy's probably back this week. You look at his totals over the last 3 weeks in the receiving game, 73, 52, and 88. And you're telling me the total's still 42.5? He is a game changer. He is the only star player that they have. There's no Kittle, no Juwan Jennings. There's no nothing. Feed Christian McCaffrey the ball over and over again any way you want. If I'm just going to keep playing this total until it's in the 50s, quite honestly. Just rinse and repeat until I see anything differently. Other than that, I don't want anything to do with the Jags in any way other than potentially playing Brian Thomas under his receptions. I don't think they've got it out. If it comes out at 5.5 again, he doesn't look as interested. He caught a couple last week, still didn't go over 5.5 receptions. So that's where I'm looking. But the McCaffrey one is the only real prop that I trust in this game, full stop. Then we have the Ravens and the Chiefs. Jim?
Well, I'm going to be quick because I got a crying baby upstairs and a wife that needs me up there. Ravens and Chiefs. Ravens need to bounce back. Chiefs look like they're in turmoil. Real simple. I'm going with Thornton. He's their best weapon. Give me the overs on Thornton's receiving.
Perfect. Thornton's at 25.5. I've got that written down as well. He's at 41, 59, and 71. Does he get lost now that they have Worthy and some others back this week? There's a lot of options in that wide receiver room. Looking at Lamar Jackson over his rushing, you can get, let me quickly try and pull it up. Rushing yards, 47.5. Week 1 last week versus the Chiefs, he ran 16 times for 122 yards. I think he easily goes over this. He's had 70, 13, and 35, so he's gone under in 2 of those games. But this is one of those competitive games. You can get 30 plus as a good alt parlay piece. And then finally, Mahomes over 26.5 rushing. They just have no running backs that can get the work done. He's basically the quarterback and the running back. He's taken off whenever needed. He's had 57 and 66 in week 1 and week 2. 26.5 rushing seems very low to me on Patrick Mahomes, especially in a tight game like this. So that is where I will be looking. Quickly, Bears, Raiders, Jim.
Again, ew.
Okay.
Ew.
I have one prop.
Go for it.
Ashton Genty under his receiving.
There you go.
I mentioned it last week. Rinse and repeat, 12.5. He has an average of 1. Do you know why he has an average of 1? Because week 1 he had 2 yards, week 2 he had 1 yard, and week 3 he had 0 yards. You just keep playing it. His rushing and receiving at 82.5 feels crazy high as well. 40, 44, and 63. It's inflated because of the Bears' bad defense. Again, I think he still goes under both those totals. Mentioned it before, DeAndre Swift, receptions. He's had 3+ in every single game. You can get that again at like minus 300. You can, he's had 3+, but you can get him just to have 2 at a good price as well. So that's a fantastic piece as well. Final game, I believe, is the Cowboys versus my Packers. Jim?
Your Packers with the bounce back spot against the Cowboys.
100%.
The Cowboys defense is a sieve. Okay? They are a leaky boat. However you can fade the Dallas Cowboy defense, you fade the Dallas Cowboys defense. That's how you play it. That's how you go. I like Jordan Love over 2 touchdowns. I like Jacobs to score. I think this game could get really ugly, really quick for the Dallas Cowboys.
I agree. We'll see in a minute. I've got a same game parlay coming up. Love no interception. He threw a horrible one right at the end of the game to lose a bet for us last week. Again, you just got to keep coming back to it. Minus 120. I love it here against the Cowboys. Another option, I'm looking at Rashawn Gary to have a sack. He's had 1, 1, and 2, and it's plus 100. Parsons on the other side. Everyone is going to be focused on Parsons. I think Gary could easily come in for a sack or 2. I think that's every game done. We have a same game parlay coming up. But Jim, quickly let us know what have we got up for sale at Wager Talk.
So NFL pack is up. We got some plays that we really like. Not a lot of plays we loved. Only the ones we loved we sent out. A lot of things that we like. And look, you got to be careful with your volume with the NFL. Everybody thinks they know everything after week 2, and then week 3 hits, and it's a disaster. So looking to bounce back from that. Been pretty good in NFL. Not lighting the world on fire, but it's a long season. Get those 7 days. We got UFC coming back. Corbin's got tennis going, which is going great. So if you're more interested in something that's long-term, which is what we preach, it's a long-term investment. Treat your bankroll like a business.
Exactly.
Get some of those longer-term packages over at wagerstalk.com.
Perfect. Finally, we'll finish up with a same game parlay and then Jim doing the things that suck. Same game parlay. I've got to go to my Packers. I gave you an example from DraftKings and FanDuel this week. So it's basically Packers money line. Most of our wide receivers to do something. So I have Wicks 20+, Dobbs 20+. They've gone over these totals in every single game.
Can you pull that up, Corbin? That's not visible right now.
Oh, I've got it on this screen. There we go. Sorry. So 2 examples from each. It's basically the wide receivers have a great game. Not even a great game, just a standard game. 15+ receiving for Wicks, Kraft, and Dobbs at DraftKings. Cowboys under their team total, Packers money line. Both of these plays plus money. You can take out a piece, you can add a piece, but I really love both of these in a great bounce back spot. I think the Packers are going to roll by 10+ here. Jim, things that suck.
My favorite things that suck. Guess who's number one? My Jets defense. So, on top of them already sucking, they have now lost their best linebacker. They are pulling guys off of other practice squads to play linebacker. And we're trading for Titans cornerbacks. How good do you think this unit really is? The bottom line is this coaching staff is weeding out who can play and who can't. They're a sieve. They give up yards, man. They had a chance to win that game, and they can't get one stop at the end just to keep the Bucs out of field goal range. So
Yeah,
I'm going to fade this Jets defense. I said it the other week. Whoever Sauce Gardner's not covering, play that receiver live. If he's following one receiver, just whoever else is available, play those guys because other than Sauce, they're going to give up to everybody.
yeah,
Cam Ward. I had already mentioned Cam Ward. Not so much that he sucks, but I got to put him on this list because I think he's going to be good long term, but he's still a rookie who looks overwhelmed on a bad team. Play against him in sacks, play against him in yardage, play those defensive props because you know he's going to give it up here. So we're going to fade him. The Giants' offense is Jackson Dart the answer? I don't believe it is. I look at this team and I see Cam Scatteraboo, who's looking like he's going to be a pretty good player, but is he a 120 yards and a 2 touchdowns guy? I don't think so.
you know,
They know it's Malik Neighbors or bust. So Jackson Dart is
exactly.
going to have to do a lot on his own. We could see a little bit of a surprise this week where he's decent, but we know what happens when they get game tape on rookies. It doesn't usually go so well. So I'll look to fade this Giants offense moving forward.
Perfect. And that wraps up the prop line for week 4 now. Andy will be back next week. But yeah, hopefully we have a good week. Plays are up at Wagers Hawk, as Jim said. NFL pack, recommend you get that for this week. Some looks that we really like this week. Alternatively, get a 7-day or longer pack to get all the plays, Ryder Cup, golf, motorsport we've got in action next week, I think. Tennis, UFC, you name it, we've probably got it. So, yeah, good luck, everyone, and on to the next week.
See you guys.